The night was not quiet. The city hummed like a tired machine. Neon lights buzzed in the fog. Wind pushed trash along the empty street. Inside a tiny toy shop, an old man worked alone. He was the Toymaker. His hands were thin but steady. Table, a small robot lay open. Its chest was cracked. Its eyes were dark. "Come on," the Toymaker whispered. "Wake up, just once more." He twisted a wire. A tiny spark jumped. The robot's eyes glowed for a second, then went dark again. The Toymaker sighed.
A little more right there.
The heater in the corner coughed more than it warmed. Outside, the power grid was failing again. The poor streets always lost heat first. His breath turned white in the air. The shop was full of toys. Tiny planes hung from the ceiling. Wooden trains sat on low shelves. Stuffed animals watched from dusty corners. Once children came here, they shouted. They laughed now. The toys watched an old man and the quiet. On the far wall hung an old war medal in a small frame. The Toymaker glanced at it, then looked away. He did not like to remember the things he had built for the war, machines that did not dance, machines that killed. He reached for his tools again. Suddenly, something scratched at the front door. The sound was very soft, a weak, thin scrape, like metal nails on wood. The Toymaker froze. He waited. Scratch, scratch, scratch. He frowned. Maybe it was a loose sign in the wind. But the sign outside was plastic, and this street did not have cats or dogs anymore. Only the wind. He put the robot down and stood. His knees cracked. Slowly, he walked to the front of the shop. The glass of the door was fogged from the cold. He could see only a dark shape on the other side. "Who is there?" he called. No answer. His heart beat a little faster. Strange sounds were not always simple. The war had taught him that. Sometimes a quiet sound was the start of fire and screams. He reached for the door handle, then stopped. Another noise reached him. A small, shaking breath, like someone trying not to cry, like someone too cold to speak. He took a slow breath and unlocked the door. The night air pushed in, sharp and bitter. On the doorstep, a small figure stood, wrapped in a torn, dark blanket. Frost clung to the cloth. The figure's head was bowed. The Toymaker's first thought was simple. "A child." "Oh," he said softly. "You will freeze out here. Come in." "Little one." The child did not move. Up close, he could see how bad it was. The small body shook without stopping. Thin hands were pressed to the chest under the blanket. "I do not have much," the Toymaker said, "but I have a heater. I have tea. Please." Slowly, the figure took a step forward. As the child crossed the doorway, the light from the shop fell across the blanket. For a second, the Toymaker saw something under the cloth. Not skin. Scales. Pale and cracked, like stone in winter. He blinked. His eyes watered from the cold. But then, the child slipped on the rug. The blanket slid from a small gray hand. The Toymaker's. Breath caught. The hand had 3 long fingers and a thumb. Each finger ended in a small claw. Faint orange light glowed under the skin, then faded. A thin smell of smoke touched the air. His mind jumped back many years. Explosions in the sky. Fire raining down. News screens full of burning ships. The enemy, the dragons. Tall, winged, scaled. Alien, monsters, the news had called them. He stared at the small hand in front of him. It was shaking so hard that the claws clicked softly together. The child pulled the blanket up again, trying to hide. "Please," a rough, broken voice whispered. "Please, just a little warmth." The Toymaker looked at the metal on the wall, at the broken robot on his table, the tiny heater in the corner. Everyone he knew would say the same thing. Call the patrol. Call the army. Call someone. Do not let the enemy inside. His hand touched the door. For one long moment, it seemed like he might push the child back out into the snow. back into the dark. Instead, he closed the door softly. He turned the lock with a slow, clear click. "This is all the warmth I have," he said, moving to the heater. "But tonight it is yours." He did not see the small red light on the roof above him. Tiny sensor watching his door. Watching the heat inside, far above. The city something answered that signal. The Toymaker guided the shivering child to a chair. He turned the heater higher. It hissed and glowed weakly. As the warmth reached her, the blanket slipped from her face. Under the hood, his two golden eyes opened and burned in the dark and outside. In the frozen street, a heavy fist slammed against the toy shop door. The knocking did not stop. Each hit shook the thin glass. The Toymaker stood frozen, his hand on the chair. The dragon child stared at the door. Eyes wide. Boom. The heater rattled for a breath. No one moved. Then the Toymaker spoke. "Hide," he said. "Softly now." The child slid off the chair. Her legs shook. He pulled her between two tall shelves of toys. He pushed a box of wooden trains in front of her. "Do not make a sound," he whispered. Her golden eyes met his. "They will smell me," she said. "They always smell us. We will hope they are stupid," he answered. Another fist hit the door. "Open up," a man shouted. "City Patrol." The Toymaker's stomach turned cold. If Patrol saw the child, it was over. He took a slow breath and walked to the door. He unlocked it and opened it a crack. Cold air pushed in. On the step stood a tall officer in a gray coat. Beside him stood a woman in a thick scarf. A neighbor. "What is this?" the Toymaker asked. The woman spoke fast. "I heard scratching," she said. "Like claws. And I saw orange light under your door. No heater does that." The officer looked past him into the shop. "We have energy readings," he said. "A spike in this street. Same pattern as them." The word hung between them. Toymaker forced a thin smile. "Officer," he said, "the only danger here is my broken wiring." He opened the door wider. "Please, come in. Look for yourself." The officer stepped inside. The neighbor followed. Every step they took brought them closer to the hiding place. He needed a distraction. His eyes moved over the shelves, toys, dust, a small metal sphere with thin legs on his table. He picked it up. "This stupid thing," he said, "always making trouble." He pressed a hidden switch. The toy sprang from his hand. It jumped across the floor, spitting sparks, blue flashes, sharp pops. The neighbor flinched and grabbed the officer's arm. "What is that?" she cried. The sphere hit a shelf. Plastic blocks rained down on the officer's boots. "Turn it off," he snapped. "I am trying." I'm trying," the Toymaker said. He chased the toy, stumbling on purpose. It darted between the officer's legs, behind the tall shelves. The dragon child crouched, small as she could. The sparks flashed near her feet. The smell of smoke curled round her nose. Her claws shook. Her chest hurt with a cold ache, where her fire should live. It was only ice. She pressed her forehead to her knees, at last. The Toymaker slapped the toy with his hand. It fell still. "Sorry," he panted. "Old design? I keep it to scare thieves." The officer frowned, but his eyes no longer searched the shadows. He saw only a messy room and an old man. He pulled out a small scanner and waved it slowly. The device beeped at the heater. "At a pile of scrap. At the hanging planes." No alarm. The light on the scanner turned green. "Fine," the officer said. "But if you see anything strange, you report it." "Yes, of course," the Toymaker said. The neighbor looked around one last time. Her gaze slid over the shelf where the child hid. For a heartbeat. She frowned, then she shivered. "This street gets colder every year," she muttered. They left. The door closed. The lock turned. Silence. The Toymaker listened. No more boots. No more voices. He let out a long breath. "You can come out now," he said. The child rose slowly from behind the toys. Her scales looked dull, almost gray. "I told you," she said. "They can smell us. More will come." He moved to the heater and turned it higher. The weak coils glowed a deeper red. "Sit," he said, "please." She sat close to the heater. The Toymaker took his old army coat from a hook and wrapped it around her shoulders. The cloth was heavy, worn thin, but warm enough. "This is all the warmth I have," he said. "Tonight it is still yours." She stared at him. "Why?" she asked. "You're kind." "Hate's mine." Looked at his war medal on the wall. "Some of us do," he said. "Some of us are tired of hate." Nothing moved. Then a tiny spark flickered between her claws, a thin line of orange. Fire danced in her hands. It did not burn the coat. It only glowed softly. Her eyes widened. "My fire," she whispered. "It is coming back on the wall." Old screen buzzed on. A news alert flashed in red letters. Unknown energy. Above lower city. Possible alien. Craft all citizens stay indoors. The Toymaker and the child stared at the screen. Far above the city, in the clouds, something huge moved. The girl's flame shrank. "They are looking for me," she said. The Toymaker walked to the door and peered through the glass. The street was empty. Then he smelled. He blinked on the outside of his door. Black lines began to appear. Burned into the wood from nowhere, they drew a circle, a jagged claw, a single eye, a mark. The girl saw the shadow of it through the glass. Her voice dropped. "That is not my people," she whispered. "That is the sign of the ones who hunt us." The burned mark on his door glowed dull red in the night. Like a fresh wound, someone in the city had just placed a target on his home. The mark on the door was still smoking. Thin gray threads rose from the burned lines. The Toymaker stared at it from inside the shop. His hand rested on the wood. It felt warm, too warm behind him. The Dragon Child watched in silence. "What is it?" he asked. She hugged his old coat tighter around herself. "It is a warning," she said. "A promise. And a test." He frowned. "For who?" "For me," she answered. "And for you?" He looked again. The mark was simple. Circle, a claw, an eye in the center. Burned deep into his door, shop, his home. He went to his workbench and came back with a small metal tool. Slowly, he began to scrape at the black lines. Ash fell in soft flakes. "You cannot just wipe it away," the girl said quietly. "I can try," he said. "I am good at fixing broken things." He scraped harder. The top layer of black came off. But under it, the wood was dark, burned deep, no matter how much he scraped. The mark remained. He stopped breathing hard. His thin hand shook. "Who made this?" he asked. "Your people?" Shook her head. "Not exactly," she said. "Some of my kind, some of yours. Together," he turned to her. "Together." He repeated. She nodded, eyes low. "There are dragons who still want the old war," she said. "They believe only fire and fear keep us strong. They call humans weak, soft, pests in metal cages." The Toymaker's jaw tightened. "I have heard. Worse names," he said. "They made a pact," she went on, "with humans who also want war, humans who never accepted peace, who lost money, power, fear. When the guns went quiet, she pointed at the mark. This is their sign, the hunters. They track my kind. They track anyone who helps us. They burn this mark to say, we saw you. You are next." The Toymaker looked around his small shop, at his toys, at his quiet life next. His gaze drifted to the war medal on the wall. He had built machines once, not toys. drones that flew without pilots, small metal birds with hidden teeth. They carried fire to places he would never see. He remembered screens full of smoke, cities he did not know, children he would never meet. He took the medal off the wall. The ribbon was faded. He turned it in his hand. "Your people burned our ships," he said slowly. "Our people burned your worlds." He set the medal on the counter, and when it ended, nobody said sorry. They only said, "Enough for now." The girl's claws curled into his coat. "My father was a soldier," she whispered. "He told me humans were stories, shadows behind guns, faces on screens, not real, not soft, not afraid." She looked up at him. "But you are real," she said. "You are soft. You are afraid." The Toymaker smiled a little. "You say that like it is a bad thing," he said. On the old screen, the news alert still glowed. Unknown energy above lower city. Possible alien craft. He turned to it. "Your ship," he said. "Your people." She shook her head. "I ran away," she said. "I was with them, but I ran. I did not want to burn another city. They called me broken, weak, traitor." She touched her chest. "They tried to cage my fire, to turn me into a weapon that never said no." Her voice grew rough. "I stole a small pod. I escaped. They shot at me. My pod broke. I fell through your clouds." She looked at her claws. "My fire almost died in the fall," she said. "I landed in your cold streets. I crawled. I followed any warmth, any light." Her golden eyes met his. "And your door was there," she said. "Your tiny toy shop, your tiny heater." He let out a slow breath. "So you are not a scout," he said. "Not an invader." She shook her head. "I am just a child who is tired of war," she said. He was quiet for a long time. Outside, the wind pushed trash along the street. Inside, the heater. At last he spoke. "I built things that hurt your kind," said. "I told myself it was for our people, for our safety." He tapped the metal. "They gave me this," he said, "a shiny thank you. But they did not take back what I made. The machines are still out there. Old fire, in new hands." He looked at her. "I cannot fix the sky," he said, "but I can decide who feels my warmth." He pointed at the burned mark on the door. "Let them come," he said softly. "They will find an old man, some broken toys, and maybe they look very hard. They will see a child I refuse to throw away." The girl stared at him. "You will fight them?" she asked. He smiled without humor. "I am too old to fight with guns," he said, "but I remember other tricks." He walked to the shelves. Small metal birds, tiny tanks with rubber wheels, plastic soldiers, drones the size of fists. War taught me how to break things, he said. Peace taught me how to hide that lesson in toys. We picked up a small plane with folded wings. "It is not a weapon," he said, "but it could be loud, blinding, confusing." He picked up a marble shooter. "Not a gun," he said, "but floors can be slippery." The girl watched him move through the shop. "Mind waking up old paths? You will trap them," she said. "I will confuse them," he corrected. "And in the confusion, we will live one more hour." He turned to the door again. The market cooled now. It was still there, still watching. Far down the street, two rough men in thick coats walked slowly. One smoked. One checked a device that blinked with a weak orange light. "Signal is close," the smoker said. "Mark says this door." He nodded at the toy shop. "Dragon scent," the other man said, smiled. "Big money." They stopped. Under the sign, through the glass. The Toymaker saw them. His heart beat faster. He stepped back from the door. "Someone is coming," he said, the girl's small wings pressed tight against her back. "Hunters," she whispered. Boots climbed the steps. A shadow fell across the window. The Toymaker moved toward the shelves. "Hide," he said again. "Remember, no sound." The girl slipped down between boxes. Toys shifted softly around her. She held her breath. Outside, one man chuckled. "Old lock," he said. "Old man inside. This'll be easy." The Toymaker reached for the door handle, meaning to hold it shut, but before he could touch it, he heard a soft metallic click from the other side. One of the hunters slid a thin master key into the lock. The key turned. The lock gave way with a gentle sigh, and the toy shop door began to open. All by itself, the door opened with a slow creak. Cold air slid into the toy shop. The Toymaker did not move. The Dragon Child held her breath between the shelves. Two men stepped inside. Not patrol. Not soldiers. Thick coats. Heavy boots. Hard eyes. One had a scar across his nose. The other held a thin metal rod with tiny lights. The scarred man sniffed the air. "Smell that. Smoke scales. She is close." The Toymaker forced a weak smile. "Sorry," he said. "Old wiring, old heater, old man." The scarred man walked to the counter. His partner swept the rod through the air. It homed. Lights blinked once, then again. "Reading is strange," the man muttered. "Like them, but small." He grinned, like a child. Behind the shelves. The Dragon Child pressed a claw to her mouth. The hum tugged at the cold place where her fire slept. She tried to make herself smaller. The Toymaker stepped between the men and the shelves. "You break my toys. You buy them," he said. He picked up a little plane from the counter. "Let me show you my best work," he added. He flicked a hidden switch. The plane's wings snapped. Open tiny engines were in. The toy shot off the counter at the scarred man's face. He cursed and swung at it. The plane spun around his head, lights flashing bright. It screamed a sharp whistle. The other man laughed. "Nice trick," he said. He did not see the Toymaker's hand slide under the counter. A switch clicked on. The top shelf, a round metal box, woke. Its lid popped open. Marbles spilled out in a rattling wave. They rolled across the floor. Small and hard and many. The humming rod blinked a warning. "Careful," the scarred man snapped. Too late, his boot came down on a marble. It rolled. His foot slid. He crashed into his partner. Both men went down. The rod skidded under a shelf. The plane hit the wall and fell in pieces. The Toymaker moved fast for an old man. He kicked more marbles toward them. The floor became a shifting sea of glass. "Oops," he said. "Old stock. Very slippery." The men struggled to stand. One grabbed a shelf. The shelf was wired. Another hidden. Switch clicked. Tiny drone toys leaped from their hooks. They buzzed to life and dived. No, bullets only lightened sound. Flashes exploded. In the hunters' faces, high beeps stabbed their ears. The scarred man shouted and covered his eyes. "Turn it off." He yelled. His partner crawled toward the door. He slipped again and hit the floor. "Enough," the scarred man growled. He pulled a real gun from his coat. The Toymaker froze. The drones hovered. Light still strowed. The gun pointed at his chest. "All right," the man hissed. "Fun is over. Where is the dragon?" Silence fell. The Toymaker's heart pounded behind the shelves. The girl trembled. If she stayed hidden, the old man might die. If she came out, they would take her. The Toymaker took a slow breath. "She is not here," he said. "Just me. Just toys." Scarred man smiled without warmth. "You are lying," he said. His finger tightened on the trigger. Under the counter, the Toymaker's other hand found one last switch. He flipped it down. Every light in the shop went out. Darkness dropped like a blanket. Someone cursed. Someone slipped. The drone's tiny batteries kept them alive for 3 more seconds. In those seconds, they flashed blinding white, then died in those bursts. The hunters saw only chaos, shelves, toys, marbles, an old man falling to the floor. They did not see the back wall open. They did not see the dragon child slide through a narrow gap, dragging the Toymaker with her. They did not see the panel close. Behind them, the old service tunnel was cold and wet. Water dripped from the stone. The Toymaker and the girl lay in the dark. Breathing hard above them, the hunters shouted. Boots scraped. His hands hit walls. Find a light. One yelled. The girl's claws clicked on the metal ladder. What is this place? She whispered. Old bones of the city, the Toymaker said. Tunnels, drains, nobody remembers them but me. His shoulder burned from the fall. We are safe now, he said. It felt almost true. Far above. In the toy shop. The hunters finally found a lamp. They swept it over the room. One of them froze. On the floor near the counter lay something small. A single scale. It glowed faintly, pulsing with soft orange light. The scarred man picked it up with 2 fingers. The scale warmed his skin. It lit his face from below. He smiled slowly. Look at that, he said. A perfect little beacon. High above the city, it's hidden in the clouds. A dark shape turned on the belly of a dragon warship. A hungry sensor flashed to life. It had found its lost child, and now it began to come down. Asterisk, the drain spat them. Out at the edge of the city, cold water poured from a cracked pipe. The Toymaker and the dragon child fell with it. Into mud. For a moment, they just lay there above them. The sky glowed a sick deep orange dot. The clouds were too low. The air felt heavy. The girl pushed herself up on shaky claws. What is that? She whispered. The Toymaker followed her gaze. High above, something moved inside the clouds. A long, dark shape, lights along its sides. Like a steel whale swimming through storm, his chest tightened. Warship, he said. One of yours? She shook her head. No, she whispered. Not mine anymore. Lights flashed along the warship's belly. It searched the city, scanning. Smelling for lost fire? They were out of time. Come, the Toymaker said. We cannot stay open in the street, he pointed. Ahead of them, at the edge of the district, a giant shadow rose from the fog. An old factory. Its windows were broken. Its walls rusted. Its tall smokestacks no longer smoked. The girl stared. It looks dead. She said. The Toymaker nodded. It is, he answered. But I remember how its heart once beat. They walked closer. Weeds grew through cracked concrete. A metal gate hung sideways on one hinge. He pushed it with both hands. It squealed like something in pain. Inside, the factory smelled of dust, oil, and long ears. Broken conveyor belts hung like tired tongues. Old robot arms froze mid-reach. This is where I worked during the war, the Toymaker said softly. Before I opened the shop, the girl traced a claw on a fallen machine. You made toys here too? She asked. He shook his head. No, he said. We made things that looked like toys from far away. But when they came close, they exploded. The voice went thin. I told myself I was only building parts, just pieces. Someone else pushed the button. The girl's golden eyes watched him. Why did you bring me here? She asked. He looked up at the ceiling, at the warship's dark shape. Hidden by clouds, because this place still has a skeleton, he said. And old bones can carry new tricks. He moved to a bent control panel and pulled it. Open. Wires spilled out like tangled roots. He dug through them. What are you doing? The girl asked. I'm going to build a blanket, he said. She frowned. For warmth? She asked for. Hiding, he said. Your people, they're machines. They search for your fire. For your energy, we cannot stop them. But maybe we can confuse them. He pointed at the sky. If I can make this old factory scream with the wrong kind of noise, maybe their sensors will see only metal, not you." The girl blinked. "A blanket of noise," she whispered. He smiled a little. "Exactly," he said. He limped across the floor. Pulling open dusty cabinets, he found coils, old batteries, broken chips. He worked fast, fingers sure from long practice. "Hold this," he said. He handed her a metal plate. Her claws shook. But she held it steady while he welded. He did not use fire. He used an old hand tool that sparked. The girl watched his hands. "Your kind is small," she said quietly. "But you build big things," he laughed once. "We build big mistakes," he said. "Sometimes big hope too." She lowered her eyes. "What if my fire wakes up again?" she asked. "What if I burn everything?" He glanced at her. "Then we try to aim it," he said. "Not at buildings. At chains." They worked in silence. Her small strength moved heavy parts. His old mind turned, his broken machines into pieces of a new idea. Overhead, the warship drifted closer. Somewhere in the city, hunters followed a glowing scale. They had not lost the trail. When the device was half built, the girl's claws slipped. A sharp edge cut her finger. She hissed. A drop of bright orange. Fire blood fell on the metal. It flashed. For a second, the whole plate glowed white. The Toymaker stepped back. "Careful," he said. Her shoulders hunched. "Sorry," she whispered. "I ruin everything I touch." "Not this," he said. He touched the metal. It was warm, but not burning. "You just welded faster than any tool I own," he said. "We might need that." He picked up another piece. "Again," he said. This time, she focused. She let one thin line of heat slide from her claw. It's not a blast, not a roar. Metal. Softened, then joined. She breathed hard. "It hurts," she said, holding it in. He nodded. "Good control always hurts a little," he said. He remembered learning to build bombs, small enough to fit in his palm. They worked until the device took shape. A rough circle of metal and wires. Old fans, antennas. Coils, it looked. Like a broken wheel. "If this works," he said, "the warship will hear only a storm of useless sound from this whole block." "Your fire will be under that storm? And if it fails?" she asked. "Then they see you," he said simply. Before he could connect the last wire, a sound echoed through the factory. Boots, voices, laughter. The girl tensed. "Hunters," she whispered. The Toymaker shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "Different trouble." Shadows moved at the far door. 5 figures stepped in. Young men and women in patchwork jackets, face tattoos, metal rings. A street gang, one of them, taller than the rest, had a red scarf tied to his arm and a gun at his hip. He stopped when he saw them. Well, he said. "Our quiet graveyard is busy today." The others spread out. One kicked an old box, another picked up a toy part. The leader's eyes moved from the Toymaker to the device, to the Dragon Child. His smile grew sharp. "That is an expensive little creature," he said. "People up there will pay a lot for one of those." The girl stepped back. The Toymaker moved in front of her. "She is a child," he said. "Not a thing to sell." The gang laughed. "Everything is something to sell," one of them said. The leader raised his gun a little. "Here's how this works," he said. "You hand her over. We do not shoot the old man. We all go home richer." The Toymaker's heart pounded. "Listen to me," he said. "Hunters are already coming. That warship is already here. You bring them closer if you make noise." The leader shrugged. "If they come," he said, "we give them the girl. We still get paid." The girl's claws dug into the Toymaker's coat. Fire trembled behind her eyes. "Please," she said. Do not do this. The leader's gaze hardened. He took a step closer, the gun pointed at her now. You do not get to ask, said. The Toymaker saw the man's finger. Move on the trigger. He did not think. His old body moved on anger alone. He grabbed a loose metal. Bar and swung. The bar hit the leader's arm. The gun fired. The shot went wild, smashing into a rusty beam. The factory rang like a bell. For 1 second. Everyone froze. Then everything happened at once. The gang rushed. Forward, the Toymaker lost his grip and fell. Upbood kicked him in the side. Pain shot through his ribs. Hands grabbed. The girl's arms, she screamed. The scream was not just sound. Flames burst from her mouth. Not a thin line, not a gentle weld. A wave. Fire roared across the floor. Metal glowed. Red dot air turned white. The gang staggered back. Shouting, the leader flew into a pile of broken crates. The heat was terrible. Short, the fire went out almost as fast as it came. The child fell too. Her knees. She stared at her own claws in horror. I did not want to hurt them, she whispered. I did not. I did not. Smoke filled the air. The factory was quiet now. Too quiet. The Toymaker coughed and pushed himself up on one elbow. Around. Them, blackened shapes lay on the floor, groaning, moving, not dead, but badly burned. He turned to the girl. Her eyes were full of tears and ash. You are not a monster, he said. You were afraid. Behind her, something shifted. A crate fell aside. The gang leader stood up slowly. His scarf was burned away. His jacket smoked. His face was twisted with pain. Something worse. Hate. He raised his gun with both hands. The barrel shook, but it still aimed straight at the Dragon Child's head. The gun did not shake now. The barrel was very still. The Dragon Child did not move. She believed she deserved the shot. The Toymaker did not agree. He pushed himself up. His arms screamed with pain. Stop, he said. His voice was thin. The leader did not look at him. That thing burned my people, the leader said. She is a monster. Ow. The girl's claws dug into the floor. I am sorry, she whispered. I could not hold it. The leader's eyes were cold. Sorry does not grow skin back. He said. His finger began to pull. The Toymaker stepped between them. He moved slow, too slow, but he still. At step the gun fired. The sound punched the air. The girl flinched. The Toymaker felt a hot fist hit his shoulder. For a heartbeat, his world turned white. Then he was on his knees. Warmth ran down. His arm, he looked down. His hand was red. The girl stared at him in shock. Why? She gasped. Why did you do that? He tried to smile, because monsters do not stand in front of children, he said. People do. The leader's arm shook now. He had not meant to hit the old man. He looked at the girl, at the Toymaker, at his own burned crew on the floor, one of his gang. A girl with a metal ring in her lip, limped. Closer, boss, she said softly. He took your bullet. So, he snapped. She pointed at the old man. He is not her kind, she said. He is ours. But he still stood there. Her voice cracked. I would not do that. She whispered. Another gang member groaned and sat up. His hair was singed. He looked around at the blackened walls. At least the fire hit the machines more than us, he coughed. If the hunters had found us here, we would be dead. The leader shot him a sharp look. What are you saying? He asked. I am saying, the man said. Maybe the worst monster in this factory is not the dragon. Silence pressed down on them. The warship rumbled faintly in the sky. The leader's jaw clenched. He lowered the gun a little. Your fire almost killed us, he said to the girl. Her eyes filled. I know, she said. I am sorry. I am so tired of hurting everyone. The Toymaker held his bleeding shoulder. You still have a choice, he said. Both of you. The leader frowned. A choice for what? He asked. To stop pretending you are only what people fear, the Toymaker said. To stop being the story someone else wrote for you. He nodded at the girl. They told her she was a weapon, he said. They told you she was a prize. They told me we were heroes for building tools that killed children we never saw. His breath shook. We all believed them, he said. But we do not have to anymore. The leader stared at him. You are asking me to protect the thing that burned my people, he said. I am asking you to be better than me, the Toymaker said. I built the fire. She is trying to control it. Which of us is worse? The factory hummed with distant power. Dust moved in thin rays of light. The gang girl with the lip ring stepped to the leader's side. Boss, she said quietly, if we sell her, we get money. Yes. But then the hunters get stronger. The war keeps going. We stay poor. We stay scared. She nodded up at the cloudy sky. But if she is real, she said, if she is like he says, then maybe this is our chance to be on the side that ends something, not just starts it again. The leader swallowed. He looked at his burned hands, at the ruin around him, at the small dragon child, shivering under an old human coat. He lowered the gun all the way. Get out of my factory, said to the Toymaker. The old man blinked. Your factory? He asked. The leader gave a short laugh. Nobody else wanted it, he said. So we took it. Same as everything? He kicked a broken crate. You can use it for your stupid machine, he said. But if this brings hunters down on us, I swear, I will wish I had killed you both. He turned away. Come on, he told his crew. The gang began to limp toward the far door. The girl with the lip ring paused. She looked back once at the dragon child. We will spread the word, she said, that anyone who sells you out sells us out too. He hesitated. An old man, she added, you should stop bleeding. And she followed the others. Their footsteps faded. The factory grew quiet again. The girl rushed to the Toymaker's side. You are hurt, she said. You will die. Not yet, he muttered. He tore a strip from his shirt and pressed it to the wound. His fingers trembled. She tried to help. Her claws were clumsy, but between them, they tied the cloth tight. Pain burned. But the flow slowed. He sat back against a machine. We have little time, he said. Your people will feel that fire blast. The hunters too. He pointed at the half-finished device. Help me finish the blanket, he said. She shook her head. You should rest, she said. You are bleeding. He laughed once. If I rest now, he said, we both lose. She looked at his pale face, then she nodded. They worked again, slower. Now he told her where to connect wires. She used small threads of heat to seal them, each time she called the fire. She shook. Enough, he said at last. He pushed himself up and staggered to an old control booth. Dust lay thick on the panels. He wiped a circle clear under the grime. A cracked screen glowed faintly when he flipped a switch. It still lived. He touched an old code into the keys. His fingers remembered. The girl watched. What are you doing? She asked. Calling someone who owes me, he said. The screen flickered. A line of text appeared. Identify. He typed, Toymaker, Old Unit 73. CALLSIGN, Ghost Hand. There was a long pause. Then new words formed. You should be dead. He smiled weakly. Many times he typed, need help. Protect child from old enemy. Another pause. He could almost see the person on the other side. Staring. Finally, the reply came. You are insane, but I owe you my life. Sending what I can. Stay alive, colon. The screen went dark. The girl tilted her head. Friend, she asked. Once, he said. We will see if he still is. Before he could say more, the factory shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Metal groaned. The girl grabbed a beam to steady herself. What was that? she cried. Another impact closer, louder one. Of the high windows shattered outside. Something huge moved against the roof. The whole building bent under its weight. The Toymaker's eyes widened. He looked up. The warship, he whispered. It is dropping something. On the roof. Heavy feet slammed down. The sound was not claws, it was metal. Big. Armored. Alive with alien fire. The ceiling plates above them bulged. Bolts popped. Screws fell like sharp rain. Then the roof split open. A giant armored shape dropped into the factory. Glowing eyes burning through the dust. A dragon warsuit had come to finish the hunt. Asterisk. The warsuit hit the floor like a falling star. Metal screamed. Dust exploded up in a gray wave. The dragon child threw her arms over her head. The Toymaker could not stand up to run. He just stared. The warsuit was taller than any human. Taller than any tank he had ever built. It had 2 heavy legs, jointed wrong, like a bird. 2 arms ended in metal claws and gun barrels. Long tail of cables dragged behind it. Its head was a steel skull shaped like a dragon. Eyes of white fire burned in its face. Inside the chest, a hot heart glowed. Not human, not here. Far above the city. In the belly of the warship, an adult dragon sat inside a control cradle. Wires ran into his back and arms. His eyes were closed, but through the warsuit, we could see the factory. Could see them. A voice came from speakers in the suit's throat. It was deep and rough. It rolled through the factory like thunder. Little spark, it said. You ran far. The dragon child's claws dug into the floor. Commander, she whispered. The warsuit's head turned slowly. White eyes locked on her. You stole military tech, the voice said. You disobeyed orders. You spared soft meat. The metal jaw curled. You are broken, it said. The girl's shoulders shook. I did not want to burn another world, she whispered. I did not want to be your gun. So the warsuit stepped closer. Each step shook the floor. Your want does not matter, the voice said. You were born to carry fire, not to think. The Toymaker pushed himself to his feet, his wounded shoulder. Burned, he moved between the girl and the suit. She is a child, he said. Not a tool. The warsuit looked down at him. Tiny human, pale, bleeding human. The voice said, your war ended. You were told to stay in your cages. It tilted its head, and yet it said, here you are, hiding stolen fire. The Toymaker's lips were dry. You ended nothing, he said. You only paused, walked away, and left your hate to rot in dark corners. His fingers touched a small device at his belt. The blanket. He took a breath and flicked the switch. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the whole factory began to hum. Old fans woke with a groan. Coils glowed. Invisible waves rolled out from the circle of metal and wires they had built. The warsuit's eyes flickered. Far above, on the warship, red symbols flashed in front of the commander's face. Static burned. His ears, the readings on his screens, went wild. The whole district below turned into a storm of noise. He hissed. What are you doing? The voice growled through the speakers. The Toymaker smiled weakly. Making bad music, he said. For your toys? The commander could no longer see the girl's exact heat. The blanket of noise covered her fire, but the warsuit still had cameras. It still had eyes. And it could still see one thing very clearly, the old man standing in front of its target. Step aside, the voice said. I have no use for your meat. No, the Toymaker said. The warsuit's chest plates shifted. Arms spread. Energy lines brightened. You think small tricks will save you? The commander said. You forget how many worlds we burned before? Yours, I remember, the Toymaker said. That is why I am here. Before the suit could fire, a new sound cut through the factory. Engines, not heavy like the War Dash suit, Smaller, faster, faster. A side door burst open. A patched truck rolled inside. It carried a metal cage. On its back, not for holding things, for holding gear, for people jumped down. In front was a broad man with gray hair tied back and a mechanical brace on one leg. He saw the warsuit. He swore. "You did not say it was this big," he shouted at the Toymaker. The Toymaker gave a thin smile. "Hello, old friend," said the man, spat on the floor. "Only you would drag me back into this," he said. Behind him, a medic set down a case. A skinny teen dragged a coil of cable. The last figure wore a familiar red scarf. The gang leader. He limped. But he held a rifle steady. The Dragon Child stared. "You came back," she whispered. He did not look at her. "We live in this neighborhood," he muttered. "If that thing burns it, we lose everything." He raised his voice. "You said you needed fighters," he called to the Toymaker. "So fight we brought." The older man with the brace slapped the side of the truck. Metal panels unfolded too. Crude cannons rose up. "This is all the army you get," he said. "One broken engineer, a few idiots, some stolen tech, and a medic." The medic raised a hand. "Very offended," she said, "but accurate." The warsuit watched them. "More insects," the commander said. "Good, I hate to waste a weapon." On only two, the Toymaker's old friends snapped orders. "Cable boy, get that coil gun on the rail. Gangster, aim for joints." People moved, hands flew. The factory came alive. Humans ran under the warsuits, feet like ants around a boot. The teen snapped a cable onto an old overhead rail. The cannons on the truck hummed. They were not built to kill a warsuit, but they could bite. Fire. The man with the brace yelled. Twin blasts of blue light slammed into the suit's shoulder. Metal scorched. One arm jerked and hung lower. The warsuit stumbled. The commander snarled. On the floor, the gang leader aimed for the glowing gaps in the armor. He fired 3 sharp shots. Sparks jumped. One bullet wedged into a joint. The suit's tail of cables dragged. "You resist," the commander growled. "Good, I hate it when prey dies too fast." He raised his working arm. A bright sphere of plasma shot out. It tore through a rusty machine. Metal exploded. Humans dove for cover. The medic pulled the gang leader behind a crate, head down. She snapped. "We can be a hero after I patch." "You again," on the far side. The Dragon Child crouched behind a broken belt. Her chest heaved. "I can help," she said. "If I let my fire go," the Toymaker grabbed her arm. "No," he said. "If you lose control again, you burn them." Tears shone in her eyes. "Then we all die anyway," she said. He looked at the war-suit, at his friends, at the blanket device humming like a tired heart. He knew she was right, but he also knew something else the blanket could not hold forever. The warship would press harder. It would see through the noise. When that happened, the dragon guns in the clouds would see one clean flame, hers, and then the whole block would be ash. Unless the guns looked somewhere else. The warsuit's chest opened wider. Inside, the brighter core spun. The commander was charging something bigger. The man with the brace saw it. "Cover," he yelled. "Big shot coming." The gang leader swore and ducked. The medic dragged the teen behind. The truck, the Dragon Child, froze. If that beam hit the blanket, all the noise would die. Her fire would shine alone. The Toymaker's hand shook. He reached down and turned. Dial on the blanket device. It WHIN. Lights on its rim all focused on him. He felt heat wash over his skin. "What are you doing?" Girl cried. He smiled. It was small and sad. "Changing the story," he said. He stepped out from behind the broken belt, out into the open. Floor dust drifted around him. He felt very light. He raised his good arm and waved at the warsuit. "Hey," he shouted, "you want your war?" Look at me. The warsuit's white eyes turned. The commander saw the old man glowing brighter on his screens, a single hot point in the storm of noise. The blanket had made him the loudest thing in the factory. A human, the voice said. You think to challenge me? The Toymaker's voice was steady now. You called her broken for saying no, he said. What does that make you? The commander's anger flared. Dead, he said. That makes you dead. The Koran. The suit's chest reached a blinding white. The dragon child screamed. Move! She cried. Please move! The man with the brace tried to run forward. The gang leader shouted. The medic grabbed them both. Too late. She yelled. The Toymaker did not move. He watched the light grow. He thought of his tiny shop, of the first toy he built that did not hurt anyone, of the shivering child at his door. Do not be a monster, he whispered to himself. The warsuit fired. A beam of pure white slammed across the factory. For an instant, everything vanished in light. The floor, the walls, the old man's shape. The dragon child's cry was the only sound left. Then the light, faded smoke, boiled in the center of the room. No one could see through it yet. No one could see if the Toymaker was still there at all. The smoke hung in the air, thick, hot, gray. No one moved. The dragon child's ears rang. Her chest hurt. She could not see the Toymaker, only a burned line on the floor, and broken metal glowing weakly. Old man. Then the gang leader called. No answer. She stepped into the smoke. The medic tried to grab her arm. Missed. Heat bit at her scales. Dust stung her eyes. She stumbled over twisted toys and shattered wires, until a small shape appeared on the ground. The Toymaker. He lay on his side, coat burned, hair singed. The floor around him was cracked black, but he was not ash. His chest still rose, still fell, slow, stubborn. She dropped to her knees. Please, she whispered. Wake up. One eye opened a little. Too bright, he muttered. Tell the explosions to be quieter. A weak laugh broke out of her. You are alive, she said. For now, he breathed. Did it look at least a little heroic? Behind them, the smoke thinned. The warsuit straightened. Chest lights climbed from red to orange. Systems woke again, far above. In the warship, the commander's screens cleared. The noise blanket was almost dead. Each shapes came back into focus. He saw a small hot flame beside a weaker one. Her. There you are, he said. Metal claws unfolded. On the factory floor, the man with the brace swore. Coils, he shouted. Give me whatever juice we still have. The truck cannon spat too thin. Blue bolts. They scorched armor, but did not stop the suit. The commander laughed through the speakers. Your toys are finished, he said. Your tricks are done. The warsuit raised its arm. A new charge began to glow. The girl felt that heat at her back. The same kind of heat that had taken her home, her father, her sky. I cannot stop him, she whispered. The Toymaker's hand moved. Shaking, it found her claws and closed around them. Yes, he whispered. You can. I only know how to destroy, she said. He squeezed her hand with all the strength left in him. Then destroy the right thing, he said. Break his chains, not this city. His breath came thin and rough. Fire is not evil, he whispered. Only the ones who aim it. Something inside her cracked. Not bone, a story. The story that said she was only a weapon, a gun with wings, a mouthful of fire for other people's orders. She stood up. Her legs trembled. They did not fold. She turned to face the warsuit. White eyes glared down at her. In the end, you crawl back to the humans, the commander said. Pathetic. Claws curled. I am not your gun, she said. She reached for the fire inside her. This time, she did not push it away. This time, she Did not let it explode out in panic. She held it. It hurt. Like holding a star in her chest. Light ran along her arms. Her scales glowed orange, then gold. The warsuit's sensors screamed. On the warship, his screens flared white around her shape. Yes, he said. Show me. He aimed the warsuit's arm. He was ready to catch her blast. Turn it, use it, but the fire did not leap at him. It rose around her instead, a circle of flame. A bright wall between her and the suit. A shield. Heat rolled through the factory, but it bent around humans and machines, slid over metal like water following her will. The medic stared. It listens to her, she breathed. She is steering. It. The commander snarled and slammed the metal arm into the shield. Claws hit fire. The floor shook. The girl's teeth clenched. Her wings shook. Break, the commander growled. He pushed more power forward. The shield bent, thinned. For one brief breath, a gap opened at the elbow. Now. The man with the brace yelled. The gang leader fired 3 shots. Bullets flew through the crack. Hit bare metal. Something popped. Sparks jumped. The warsuit's arm dropped and hung useless. The shield snapped back. The commander cursed and raised. The other arm, the girl dragged the fire with her. The shield slid. Met the new blow. Humans moved with her without words. They shot into glowing cracks where the shield kissed armor. They dragged live cables under huge metal feet, sending shocks up its legs. Little by little, the giant came down at last. Knees buckled. The warsuit crashed to one knee. The whole factory jumped. The girl's shield flickered. Her fire was almost gone. On the warship, warning symbols flashed red dot broken joints. Failing systems. Overheated core. Rage burned inside the commander. Enough, he said. I will erase this whole block. He reached for the main guns. One command, and the city would vanish in white. Lightbot, before he could send it, his screens changed. New windows snapped open around his view. Human news feeds. Dragon civilian nets. Military channels. All at once, a shaking video showed the factory, the warsuit on its knee. The small dragon child glowing, the humans standing in front of her, and one burned human face, close to a tiny camera, the Toymaker. His voice was low and cracked, but it carried hello, he said. We would like to speak to whoever is watching, on the warship. Younger dragons stared. On the ground, humans in crowded rooms lifted cracked phones. For a moment, 2 worlds watched the same picture. This is impossible, the commander hissed. The Toymaker coughed. I helped build your first links, he said. You copied our tricks? You left the same door open? He drew a shaky breath. You can burn us, he said, but not in the dark. They will see what you fear most. He nodded toward the girl. A dragon who says no, he nodded to himself, and a human who does not run. The dragon child's voice came through the feed, small and clear. It changes me, she said. That is enough. Her shield flared one last time, then it broke. The fire went out. She dropped to her knees, empty. The warsuit could crush her with one step. The commander stared at the tiny shapes on his screens. The old man, the child. Still standing between them and death, for the first time in many years. His claw hesitated over the fire command. This is not over, he said. He cut the link, but he did not press the guns on the ground. The warsuit's eyes dimmed. It did not step forward. It stepped back. One slow step, then another. It turned away. Jets roared. The metal giant lifted through the broken roof and climbed into the clouds, high above. The warship banked, rose higher, and slid back into the gray. The factory fell quiet. The medic rushed to the Toymaker. Do not die, she snapped. You are a terrible patient. He tried to smile. I will, argue later, he whispered. Days later, the sky over the poor district was empty of warships. In a small hospital room, Machines beeped in a soft, lazy rhythm. The Toymaker slept. Under a thin blanket, bandages wrapped his shoulder inside. By the window, the Dragon Child sat on a too small chair and watched the clouds. Sometimes, humans walked past the door. They looked in, afraid, curious, unsure. They did not scream, on cheap screens all over the city. The same short video played again and again. A scaled girl holding fire in a circle. An old man smiling at a warsuit. Comments scrolled. Past, monster, hero, traitor, fool. Far above the clouds. Other ships drifted. Some human, some dragon. New messages moved between them. Careful, slow, different from the ones before. The child held one of the Toymaker's toys in her claws. A tiny metal dragon that could fly in clumsy loops. She wound it and set it on his blanket. It hopped, buzzed, almost took off. "We made them look," she said softly. The Toymaker's eyes opened a crack. He watched the toy wobble. "You made them think," he said. "That is harder." She smiled and turned back to the sky. "Next time," she whispered, "I will not be the only one who says no." Outside the window, the city lights came on one by one. High in the clouds, small shapes crossed without. Firing one human shuttle, one dragon scout, they slipped past each other in silence, and in that thin space between them, a new story waited, in fire that would choose its own shape.